Fifth in a series of communication regarding the millennium. The first four have been somewhat intriguing to some extent if you're able to listen retentively to what has been stated. The fifth one is just more general. Scenario, today being January 16th, 2002, and as we're marching into the millennium and each disaster seems more and more bizarre, we're still waiting for a willingness or a confirmation to communicate the correct interpretation of events as they're marching in time. As the situation has not yet taken hold of immediate action, to the best of my knowledge anyway, to move this millennium forward, I have spent an exhaustive 3 years and 1 month, or 37 months, on this effort. Each and every individual that was previously approached thought of their own personal gratification, personal interpretations of life, personal deviations in their approach toward success, or personal deliberations over their unwillingness to have me move forward in a paramount position in the United States. Quite aware that Washington, D.C. studied me very closely. Any way they could subterfuge or destroy or dement my existence on this earth to their benefit and continued prosperity and criminal justice continuing with prosperity. It has been a long and beleaguering effort to maintain this in its present dictum. I don't have many other avenues of 49 years of age to go down to progress in the millennium. There's nothing that I'm going to do of a nature that wouldn't be subverted in the surroundings that I'm in today, which is about 80% of what was used to be minorities being the majority of people here in the Southern California basin, known as the Los Angeles and Orange County, and the employment situation for people that technically left the employment base to proprietorship in 1982 is nil without it being tracked back to be of a serious nature, and most people aren't going to hire you on an hourly basis to do anything because they don't figure you're going to stay there for any period of time, and they don't want to milk people 49 years of age because they're looking at the health situation and anything else as far as a yield and return, especially if they're going to try to pump them for 15 or 20 hours a week, but there's just a base pay on the scale. So I'm going to make my last tactical effort, which has to succeed and will succeed, and I will look at every deviant exercise of subterfuge that has been placed against me before I make this effort, and it will commence somewhere within the next 5 or 6 to 7 days at the most. And what avenue I go down with what limited resources I have available will be hopefully utilized properly and successfully by myself. Much in the millennium has been left out, much has been provided to such profound specifics that for me to sit here and listen to other people's babble anymore on the communication networks has become wearisome and tiresome to listen to this continued dialogue of mental retardation regarding events or leakage of whatever news that they feel is satisfactory for the general populace not to be aroused by the potential and dire consequences of each action as they have proceeded in this millennium. A lot of this violence could have been addressed in a prior stage, but there wasn't that interest, as stated before, because you were either too concerted in your concerns of how well you were doing in your stock market, how well you were doing in your job, how secure you were with your pension, or whatever else came to mind or to light, or how you had robbed everybody, and then obviously you can't possibly want to express an interest or a financial assist of a most humbling amount of dollars to bring this millennium out, considering the astronomical intellectual magnificence of this project and the paucity of interest, zero financial willingness to move it forward is very profound. You had no problems if something could be scammed, trying to find dollars to generate on that. Something was so fantastically specific. Sit around harmonizing over your nonsense has just been obliterating to my interests to continue forward in this form of dialogue. So it'll be very interesting in the millennium, as we move into the millennium, where everybody is positioned. I projected you'd be in the Civil War back in 1999, and all the correlations are moving toward a civil war in the United States. And while I have, with less than peace of mind, sat back patiently in expectation of some level of respect for what I had previously endeavored to accomplish, there seems to be no positive and magnanimous reception towards seeing me brought into the public view in any way at all. Everyone is all concerned about how they've heinously departed from any form of patriot movement in the United States to a pickpocket movement. And that's what it was, whether it's the international financial markets, the welfare system, the defense contracts, and what have you in this country that move to the flow and cadence of a handful of people that are only concerned about one thing: their continued expectations of manipulation. When I say manipulation, I mean able to move the armed forces of the United States to whatever activation level they need for their own profit and aggrandizement. Manipulation of the stock markets. Most of it is successfully countered by inside trading. Other aspects of it, other than the inside trading, would be the ability to project large income through various trading schemes that are out there, and other ways to engineer a willingness for the banks, pension funds, mortgage arms to engineer huge sums of money for you with small payments to whomever is in a officer position in the company, corporation, pension fund, credit union, or whatever. So it has been somewhat wearisome. Many people have lived on a grand scale in the United States without having to ever concern themselves with scaling down or reducing themselves to any extent without jumping off the deep end. So I think it should be an amusing 00 years, as 2002 will not be the same brutal existence I absorbed in 2001, 2000, or 1999. The checkbook is now ready, and the checkmate is going to arrive shortly. Enjoy the millennium. It wasn't what you thought, and it won't be what you were projected to expect it to be. Thank you.